Hello, YouTube. From May 9th to the 11th, a unique artifact of a bygone civilization will fall to Earth. You see, it flew to Venus, but it remained in the Earth's orbit. The backup of the Venera 8 spacecraft, named Cosmos 482 in the Soviet press, could not leave the vicinity of our planet back in 1972. It was orbiting the Earth, and now it was time, this time, for it to fall. Experts warn, if you find it, do not approach, it will explode. Immediately call the equivalent of the Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations in your country. It is possible that Cosmos 482 will mistake Earth for Venus, open its parachutes, make a soft landing, and start sending scientific data to the people who had sent it. But they are no longer there. There has never been such a thing in the history of cosmonautics or space exploration. Interplanetary missions in the USSR were often duplicated. You see, they sent two apparatuses. So let at least one of them fly and get to the destination. That's exactly what they did in 1972. On March 27, the station that we know as Venera 8 set off for Venus. And on March 31st, its doppelganger appeared. And they tried, the Soviets, not to spread the news about its unsuccessful mission. The USSR persistently tried to conquer the evening star, as Venus is called. Despite the hellish conditions on this planet, colossal temperatures and pressure, stale air, rains of sulfuric acid, and the Soviets succeeded. So far, no one except the USSR has been able to land on Venus and broadcast from there. You should see my videos about Venus and what they found there, and why other nations are itching to get there soon. Look at China. The Venus 8 twin was unlucky. It went into orbit around the Earth without any problems, but it didn't work out a way to escape from the embrace of gravity. Instead of 192 seconds, the acceleration engine lasted only 125 seconds. The spacecraft remained orbiting the Earth. In the Soviet media, maybe for the sake of conspiracy, it was designated as Cosmos 482. And the one that launched first, Venera 8, it did fly to the planet of its destination. It got there. On July 22nd, the spacecraft began its descent into the atmosphere of Venus, touched the surface without any problems, and transmitted scientific data. Temperature 470 degrees, pressure 90 atmospheres. It is a hospitable world. So what we call Cosmos 82, just like Venus 8, was designed for a pressure of 90 atmospheres and in human temperatures. There is almost no doubt that it will pierce the Earth's atmosphere like a pencil through paper. What will happen? When and where will the spacecraft fall? Space is harsh. Almost everything that orbits the Earth will fall on it. After all, the atmosphere of our planet stretches for thousands of kilometers. Even if the concentration is 1 atom per cubic kilometer, it doesn't matter. Year after year, the air slows down the spacecraft. And now, 50 years later, it was the turn of the unsuccessful Venusian mission. The fact is that the fall is inevitable. Was first realized in the year 2018, but we did not know when it would happen. The spacecraft is currently moving in an elliptical orbit. At its maximum, it is moving away from the Earth by 393 kilometers. At its minimum, it is approaching 160 kilometers. So far, we can only say that it will fall somewhere between 52 degrees north latitude and 52 degrees south latitude. And that's according to Viktor Voropayev, the head of the Center for Collective Use of the International Network of telescopes for scientific and applied tasks at the Institute of Applied Mathematics, Keldysh Russian Academy of Sciences. This is the entity that monitors that satellite that's going to fall down. But there is a very high probability that a fall will occur in the northern hemisphere, the Russian scientist says. The 52nd latitude is the Bryansk and Kursk regions, Saratov region, Altai territory, Khakassia, Buryatia, Irkutsk region, Khabarovsk territory. Of the major cities at this latitude, approximately are Voronezh, Saratov, Orenburg, Irkutsk, while in theory the apparatus can fall there or anywhere to the south. In other words, in the Krasnodar territory, perhaps. In the Moscow or Arhangelsk region, no. But this is if we imagine that the fall will happen in Russia, which of course is completely not guaranteed. This may be territories of foreign countries or oceanic spaces, stated the Russian scientist. The time of the fall is only approximately known, approximately between the 9th and the 11th of May. The apparatus is perfectly round. It can bury itself in the atmosphere for a long time, according to Viktor Voropayev. The accuracy of forecasts is also reduced by the fact that there is a maximum solar activity right now. The sun can give a flash, the atmosphere will swell up, and the craft will start delving faster. Even a day before the fall, we can only name the area where it will be definitely not falling down. And more or less reliable forecasts will appear 12 to 15 hours before the combustion, according to the same Viktor Voropayev. Russian Komsomolka, or the Komsomolskaya Pravda newspaper I often cite in my videos, is in constant contact with the center, and they will promptly notify the population and its readers about any news. But you need to be aware, they say. And here's why. Don't come too close. The mass of the entire Venetian spacecraft is 1,184 kilograms. And the lander, which humans will have to deal with, is 495 kilograms. It is a metal sphere with a diameter of about 1 meter. It is important to warn people who will be lucky, so to say, and that they will witness the fall, according to Voropayev. In any case, do not approach the apparatus. Do not try to open it. There are pyrotechnics inside. To carry out the descent on Venus, the craft was equipped with explosive devices. They had to shoot off unnecessary parts when planning in the Venetian atmosphere. Most likely, the pyro cartridges were not affected by cosmic radiation, and they were made, as was customary in the USSR, conscientiously, says the Russian scientist. So the explosion won't seem small, he warned. Call the Ministry of Emergency Situations and watch from afar. You can take pictures. In fact, there is no complete understanding of what it will look like. After all, this has never happened. Designed for the hellish conditions of Venus, the apparatus is likely to withstand a flight through the Earth's atmosphere and descend either intact or slightly damaged, according to the academician of the Russian Academy of Cosmonautics, Alexander Zheleznyakov. They even write on the web that it can open a parachute designed for Venus and land. The probability of this exists, but this is minuscule, Zheleznyakov added. After all, the parachute was designed for the conditions of the Venusian atmosphere, and it may not realize that it's time to open, encountering a much less dense atmosphere on Earth. Theoretically, some factors may coincide and the parachute will open, but in general, it's fantastic, according to academician Zheleznyakov. There's also some hope for a miracle, Viktor Voropayev agrees, but he doesn't really believe in the parachute show either. There are a lot of questions. So the pyro cartridges in theory should be triggered by an electrical signal from the batteries. But you see, the batteries had already run out by 1973. There is no electricity on board. By the way, that's why the apparatus still won't start sending data. Pyrotechnics will explode if you try to open the case. There's no doubt about it. Will there be an explosion from hitting the Earth? We have no idea. The speed of contact with the Earth will not be very high, Alexander Zheleznikov points out. In the history of space navigation, there have been many cases when debris from spacecraft fell into residential buildings and even onto the deck of a ship. But fortunately, so far there have been no serious incidents, he says. I think everything will be fine this time. Well, who gets this treasure? During the Soviet period, the authorities were terrified that the apparatus would land somewhere on the territory of an unfriendly capitalist country. But these days, the CIA is unlikely to rush to seize the Russian Venus apparatus if that craft falls in the United States, according to Zheleznikov. Even then, top-secret technologies were not used on interplanetary vehicles. And for half a century, even what was used has become obsolete. The apparatus has more of a museum value today. And here it is unclear how things will turn out if the apparatus is really taken by strangers. On the one hand, Americans or representatives of another country can make every effort to safely transfer the satellite to Russia, according to Voropayev. Americans are very sensitive to heritage. On the other hand, precisely because of its incredible rarity and value, the same staff members can take this space wanderer to the exposition of one of their space museums. And a long, tedious epic will begin to bring it back to Russia, he says. There will be issues if the interplanetary vehicle does create problems. There is an international agreement, Viktor Voropayev recalls, according to which the country that launched it is responsible for the hard landing of a space body, even if the apparatus is old and has not operated for a long time. So if the failed Venus craft damages a house or a vehicle in another country, you will have to compensate them for the damage, sums up the Russian scientist. One way or another, we are about to witness a fantastic show. The Russian internet is busy with this event. Bloggers are joking, and here's one such joke. The craft will land and detect signs of unintelligent life on Earth. You don't even know which is better, to get into the ocean and end up in the water, or land on solid ground, but create material problems. The heroic space exploration age sends its greetings to us, or maybe it reapproaches us a little. After all, many achievements of that time, despite all the progress, cannot be repeated. So this is what I wanted to let you know today. You can consider it to be a public service announcement if you want, or you're learning another page from the history of the Soviet space exploration, and I'll bring you more pages of interest to you. And if you like my research, please kindly support me through the links you'll find in the description to this video. Please like my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.